Alola! I'm Melanie and you're watching Rose Squad Reviews, and today I'm going to be talking about Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. I know I'm a little bit late to the game here since Pokemon Sun and Moon did come out in the year 2016, but I just finished playing them on my own personal playthrough of the Pokemon franchise, and I wanted to talk about them. Just for your info, I played Pokemon Sun. Um, if that's pertinent, I don't know. And Pokemon Sun and Moon are kind of different from a lot of the other Pokemon games. If you're familiar with the Pokemon franchise, usually your character will battle through 8 gyms before defeating the Elite Four and finally clearing the game. And usually there's also some kind of evil organization in there that you have to stop single-handedly. But for Pokemon Sun and Moon, instead you have to clear several trials and also defeat some island kahunas in order to advance and then finally get to the Elite Four. Um, so it's a little bit different, and I have some mixed feelings on the longevity of this format, whether or not it should be continued or if it should go back to the 8 gym format. But I think in this case it does provide for a fresh breath of air in the franchise, and it blends really well with the story, I thought, and kind of allows everything to come together. That's why I just finished playing previous to this Pokemon X, and that game kind of left a sour taste in my mouth a little bit. Just it stayed true to a lot of the classic format of Pokemon, and in that way it did work as a game, but just kind of the smaller details, like the characters, for example, I didn't really connect with as much. And in Pokemon X, you have 5 people that are following you around and trying to be your rivals and whatnot, and that's just not very. I never really connected with any of them, and I kind of felt come on, you can kill off a couple of these people and then just shrink it down to maybe 3 at the most, and not have to worry about anything suffering really, as far as content and quality. So in Pokemon Moon, when you only have 1.5 rivals, I would say, and then there's Lily, whatever she is. You have a smaller group of core characters that you can really kind of connect with and get kind of really familiar with. And also, I think the format of the different trials allows you to connect with the gym leaders. In the previous games, the gym leaders are kind of this enigmatic figure that you only see once in the game, and then poof, they're gone, not important, forget about them. But with the trials, you kind of get to interact with the characters more and get to know more of them and their personalities, and just kind of build more of a connection. Also, I was really happy to have an anti-hero in this game. Gladiion's one of my favorite characters, mostly because he reminds me of Silver in Pokemon Gold and Pokemon Silver. And then, their counterparts, Heart Gold, Heart Soul Silver, whatever those are. And also, kind of a little bit like N in Pokemon Black and White. Besides, I think he's just a really funny character with all of his teenage angst. And he's just oh. Yeah. One of the things I was a little bit skeptical about at first was just how extra this game is and over the top. But then I kind of was you know what? They're already doing stuff different. It's a fun take on the franchise. They can kind of laugh at themselves a little bit. Just some of the details are very dramatized and you don't really need all this extra fluff, but okay, whatever if you want to do that. And so I'm going to do a little short fun skit video about some of the funny little deed boppers. But just kind of initiating battles with trainers was a little bit over dramatic, and just the Z moves. I think anyone who's played the game knows what I'm talking about. They're kind of funny and they do come in handy, but it's like the power equivalent of setting off a nuclear bomb during a battle, and it's just really over dramatic, and wow. One of the changes in this edition of the franchise that I think a lot of people appreciate is the introduction of ride Pokemon. So I actually have there we go. So instead of having HMs and teaching them to your Pokemon, you are registered with several Pokemon that you can call upon whenever you need, and have them come to your assistance and fly you places or find things or surf or whatever. And so you don't have to worry about making sure to teach one of your starters cut so that way you can get through the game and then having it have to learn cut for like the entire game. Or having 8 gem slaves. So it gives you a lot more freedom to play around with like different moves and all sorts of fun things like that. There's a little bit of controversy regarding the story of Pokemon Sun and Moon. I personally really enjoyed it. I thought that it blended really well with the game format and then also the new kind of evil organization that's trying to overtake the world that's going on. And there was a couple surprises and interesting things that they did that way that I enjoyed kind of, watching and playing through. And yeah, there was a lot of like, what in the world moments playing this game. But Professor Oak, for example, I think overall the game is kind of like a new take on a franchise that's hopefully still going strong because I really enjoyed the classics and I also enjoyed this version as well.